My name is Redmond, and I used to be a member of the European Union. But it's great to be here too. This is a story about small-town Scottish life. I come from a town called Hoyk. It's a lovely town. It's about 2 miles south of Edinburgh, if you've ever heard of it. It's the kind of town that last year we had one street which more people were stabbed on than live on. But it has little moments of magic. Like the other day I was walking through the street and I found this bench, it's like a memorial bench, it had this plaque on it. It said Margaret Gray, born in 1903, died in 1995, fiercely independent her entire life. And I thought, wow, this woman was never a baby! And then underneath that it said, Scott, that's a really clever joke, it deserves a bigger laugh. But most of the time it was just bleak. Here's the best example. This is called Scratch Card Roundabout. Hoyk. Living in Hoyk is bleak. Here's an example. There's going to be a few times I use Britishisms, just pretend you know what I'm talking about. Hoyk. Living in Hoyk is bleak. Here's an example. We have this one roundabout that's surrounded by 3 petrol stations. A Morrison's petrol station, a Shell petrol station, and an independent petrol station, each of which happens to sell scratch cards. The scratch card petrol stations, we call them. And for some reason, about 20 years ago, people started taking these scratch cards that they found at the scratch card petrol stations and discarding them on this roundabout. The scratch card roundabout, we called it. If you imagine the scratch card roundabout being like a pizza, with the scratch cards being the cheese on top, and the fence on the outside acting as the crust and keeping the scratch cards in. Anyway, there's a local man, Old Jim, who isn't that old, maybe late 40s, early 50s, but by Scotland standards. And anyway, about 20 years ago, his mind went. His wife and his young son were killed in a house fire, and he couldn't cope. Some even say his mind went before it, just him that started the fire. But anyway, now every day he goes down to Scratch Card Roundabout, scratching away at used scratch cards. Maybe there'll be one that someone has a scratched every panel of, or maybe there'll be one that hasn't been scratched at all. Scratch Card Jim, we called him. Every day he'd be down there, scratching away with his lucky scratch card scratching coin. The scratch card coin, we called it. His lucky 3-pence scratch card scratching coin, which was actually just 3 1-pence coins glue tacked together. Every day, he'd be down there, scratching away, scratch, scratch. New Year's Day, scratch, scratch. Christmas Day, scratch, scratch. As a local eccentric, people used to make fun of Scratch Card Jim. I remember once I was in the car with my parents, and my dad turned to my mum and said, "There's your boyfriend!" To which my mum replied, "Hey, at least he has a more regular income than you. Where's my child support? Also, isn't it weird that we're still driving around together? We've been divorced for 5 years. But it didn't matter. None of this mattered to Scratch Card Jim. All that mattered to him was scratching away. Scratch, 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 scratch. 18 years I lived in Hoyk. Every day I passed him. Every day he was scratching away. Scratch, scratch. Until about a year ago. Scratch, scratch. He found his winning ticket. Scratch, scratch. He still put it down with the other scratch, scratch. No one realized he had won. Scratch, scratch. But a moment later, he realized he had won. He realized he had won and he cheered. Scratch, scratch. He had won £100,000. Scratch, scratch. He cheered. Locals started gathering around. Scratch, scratch. Everybody knew Scratch Card Jim. Everybody knew what happened. Scratch, scratch. They were happy for him. Scratch, scratch. And then, as for the first time in 20 years, he stepped off of Scratch Card Roundabout. He was hit by a car and killed. It was still a very busy road. Idiot! And that is the perfect metaphor for life in Hoyk.